So Hyperloop is a futuristic transportation system that has been proposed in 2013 by Elon Musk. And in principle, it's about having a system that allows very fast connection between mobility hubs. That would mean connecting cities like Munich to Berlin, for instance, in roughly 30 to 40 minutes, and would therefore mean an incredible shift in how fast we can travel on the ground. Hyperloop as a system consists of mainly two components. The first one being the infrastructure side, which would be a vacuum tunnel. The advantage of a vacuum tunnel is that taking the air out of the tunnel allows for higher speeds while consuming less electricity and therefore less polluting less and being more climate friendly. And on the other side, the pods or like vehicles, we like to call them pods, that are the ones that transport people and that are levitating inside of this tube and travel at very high speeds. The advantage of such a system is the fact that you have less energy consumption and that you have a full electric operation means that you have no direct emissions, and therefore, while not emitting at all during operation, you can therefore trying to reach carbon neutrality with this kind of transportation system. I think the question about why we were so successful in this competition can be answered by a couple of factors. I think one of them being the students here at the Technical University of Munich definitely have a very good education. So the groundwork and the knowledge of the people is very, very good. It then gets complemented by this kind of projects. And being here in Munich, being in Bavaria, we had a big advantage compared to other teams around the world by the fact that there are big corporations that support us. There are small companies that supported us, in particular with very world-class manufacturing capabilities, for instance, or world-class know-how in certain areas. So this obviously helped us immensely. And I think the last thing I would mention is in general more really the network of people, not only the companies, but in general the people. You find a lot of people that are willing to help each other, that are willing to connect and willing to help you succeed. So I think these factors all together contributed mainly to making us a very successful team in the competition. I mean, just for Hyperloop, we already need to integrate several technologies from several of the traditional industries. So we need everything from the automotive industry. We need several things. We are very similar to a train in certain areas, for instance, being on the ground and needing an infrastructure between A to B. So we definitely need to take a closer look at the railway industry. But for instance, we are traveling in a near vacuum. So we have several things that we need to take from the aircraft industry. So we need to combine all of those and make sure that we get a Hyperloop running. But on the other side, we need to make sure also that we can integrate Hyperloop with future modes of transport, being air taxis, being smart vehicles, being autonomous vehicles, being electric cars. All of this needs to be connected to each other in order to actually give the biggest possible advantage in the future for the future of mobility. I mean, clearly Bavaria is very well placed for this kind of innovation. I mean, we have, if I think about Munich only because I'm actually based in Munich, Munich has all the combinations between biggest corporations in the world, some of the most innovative corporations in the world. It has smaller corporations, smaller companies that are world-class in what they do. So maybe just there's a technology that they have developed further than anybody else in the world. And it has a very good standard of living, which allows to be very near to the Alps and so on. So this is a great point to get here. And also it has top-class universities that therefore also provides new and fresh talent. So we have all the components in Bavaria, here in Munich, that we need for this kind of innovations. I'll take Hyperloop as an example. We need aspects both from the automotive industry as from the railways industry. And since we're moving in a vacuum, we also need elements of the air aircraft industry. So we need to make sure technologies from different industries can come together to ensure Hyperloop, and therefore cross-industry innovation is key for Hyperloop. So I think we are very well placed. I think we are growing quickly. I think the networks are building. I think we are therefore in a good place for the future here in Bavaria. I mean, we are in Munich, which is a city that combines different industry, in particular in the mobility sector, from automotive to the aircraft industry. And for instance, we recently, as a Hyperloop team, moved to the south of Munich, to the Lufthof campus, which historically is the area where Airbus is sitting, not very far from here. And so this shows that we need to move together. Also from a geographical point of view, we need to move close together and collaborate between these industries. So for us, it's clearly very important to recruit inside the university. So we look for students with exceptional capabilities already during their studies. They obviously get the very high quality education from a university here in Bavaria, from the Technical University of Munich. And we, with a project, we try to use their knowledge that they've learned and gained in lectures and move them and develop that further with actually applying it to a hands-on project. And so for us, we think that these two things also are very important for the students of tomorrow and for the engineers and so on of tomorrow, to actually combine the, let's say, more theoretical knowledge that you gain in lectures with actually hands-on experience in project like ours. And so we try to push this idea forward and allow as many students as possible to actually get this experience in our project. If you think about what happened over the last couple of years, I mean, we have had obviously several generations of students join the TUM Hyperloop project since we started back in 2015, and many of them have then moved on and are no longer working on Hyperloop and have found jobs at several companies here in Bavaria. And I mean, whatever area they were looking into, they obviously found very good companies here in the state of Bavaria. And I think the companies were obviously very interested in hiring these students that have not only taken part successfully and concluded successfully their studies, but also taken part in projects like TUM Hyperloop and many other student projects, and therefore have gained some hands-on experience during their studies. I've never looked into concretely going to Italy by Hyperloop, but I'm assuming, I mean, traveling somewhere near to the 800-900 kilometers per hour, we could probably talk about less than an hour to get there, and maybe an hour to get to the bigger cities. I think Bavaria is very well placed, very well connected. If you think about, like, for me, going back to Italy, Bavaria is the southern part of Germany, and for Munich is being told to be the northern city of Italy. So I'm very well connected to that. You're very near to several things. You have several lakes here around Munich that you can get quickly to. You can get to the Alps quickly if you like winter sports. So I mean, I've never complained about, and you have all the possible connection. I mean, just moving around Munich, you can get everywhere by U-Bahn or by bus or by subway. It's the English word for it, by bus, and so you can move around pretty quickly. And Munich is very well connected, and you have a lot of parks. If you need to take a break from your work routine, so in principle, it's the standards of living here are very, very high. I think nobody has ever said anything different.